Yo everyone, UFC 319 du Plessis versus Chimaev just wrapped up, and we have a fucking lot to talk about regarding the main event and the entire card overall as well. Some of the most insane finishes I've ever seen just happened on this card, coupled with some very disputable decisions happening on the card as well. I'm going to be breaking down every single fight on this card for you guys, giving my initial reaction to every single fight on the card, and I will also be sharing my bet results from this card as well. As some of you know, I post bets every single week in my videos titled Larry's Betting Guides, so if you haven't seen them before, feel free to check one of them out right now or try to catch the next one as it comes out. I'll go through my prediction results and betting guide results for this card first, and then I'll break down each fight from top to bottom, starting with the main event. If you want to skip to any fight breakdown in particular, timestamps are in the description and the comment section below. Now for my prediction results, we did pretty solidly on this card overall. We went 7-5 on picks overall, which honestly is a lot better than what it sounds. Quite a few underdog wins were on this card this time around, even with the biggest favorite on the card, I believe, in Chase Hooper, losing by first round KO. We started off very bad in the prelims, honestly, but we worked our way into almost clean sweeping the main card, which was not bad at all in my opinion. As for my betting guide results, on screen are all the bets I made in the betting guide before the event, and now I will highlight in green the bets that cashed and in red the bets that did not hit. As you can see by the profit table at the bottom, we did quite well on this event. You can probably tell by the red and black and green that not many of my bets did actually cash, but my two biggest bets on this card both did cash this time around, immediately putting me in profit with the Lerone Murphy underdog moneyline just being extra profit on top of it all. Felt really confident in MVP and Carlos Prates to get it done here. I put that massive bet on them, and I'm happy it cashed. Same thing with Michal Oleksiejczuk by first round KO, which paid out almost 4 times my bet size, which is just sick to see. What you're seeing at the bottom of the screen, which is the bottom table, are my overall profits in units for this card, and I did take out the 0.75 units off initially because of King Green versus Diego Ferreira and Brian Battle versus Nursultan Rusaboyev's fights being cancelled. So don't worry. I factored it all in, guys. Everything's correct there. Overall, pretty happy with the results, guys. This is another week of profit. I should be posting my UFC Shanghai predictions and breakdown video sometime in the next couple of days, so look out for that video as well, and the betting guide that will follow it later on next week. Now to move on to my event recap and reaction to the fights finally, guys, starting with that main event. And guys, I did pick Khamzat Chimaev to get it done in the main event. I thought he would get it done by submission, but honestly, being able to continuously ragdoll and hold down Dricus du Plessis for almost 5 rounds in total, apart from like the last half of the 5th round, was still incredibly impressive to me. I said it in my predictions video about how it was hard for me to not pick Chimaev in this fight because I could almost guarantee 100% of the time that he would have DDP down on the ground and dominated completely in the first 2 rounds of this fight, and it's really hard to pick against a guy that you can almost have supreme confidence in getting those positions in fights. And you know what, guys? I usually stick to myself, and I don't think I have said many things out of line or anything negative really at all about other MMA YouTubers. But I will say this, that MMA Guru in particular was annoying me so much with the clips that I was seeing from his UFC 319 live stream and his Twitter/X posts as well that I was seeing. The dude can literally never seem to handle when he gets picks wrong and will just trash the winning fighter whilst coping about how good his pick really was. I'm a fan of both Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, and if DDP did win this fight, like many people did think he might win, I would have copped that on the chin as a bad prediction, and I would have given my congratulations to DDP and his team. This dude in MMA Guru is just completely delusional. He does this rinse and repeat almost every single card as far as what I can see. He was actually saying things like Khamzat didn't land anything of damage on Dricus at all in this fight, or didn't do anything of significance in this fight to Dricus du Plessis. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like getting the champion of your division down on the ground in the crucifix position 4 times during this fight, and smashing him in the face with punches for a long time counts as doing damage to me. But like, what do I really know, guys? Like, we saw Du Plessis' face after this fight. It did look swollen, it did look cut in there. And anyways, guys, that's just a little mini rant I had for you guys. I do want to move on from that. I do want to talk about Chimaev and Dricus a little bit more. I do just think that knowing that Khamzat can keep a decent pace for 5 rounds, obviously it's not like a Merab Dvalishvili's pace or anything, but he manages to do his thing pretty much every round of this fight. I think it's going to be hard to see anyone beating him. Maybe if you're lucky, and Anthony Hernandez will give him a run for his money, but even then, I think he out-wrestles and subs Anthony Hernandez early, in my opinion. 50-44 on all the judges' scorecards. Very, very impressive for anyone to do that, let alone to a champion, and let alone to Dricus du Plessis, who is unbeaten inside the UFC. DDP will bounce back though, mark my words. He's a great fighter, seems like a cool dude, I'm a fan of him, and Khamzat Chimaev will have a successful future ahead of him. I am sure of that 100%. Moving on to the co-main event now, and holy shit, guys, I was saying it live, I said it in my predictions and breakdown video before the card, I picked Lerone Murphy by decision win, but I really did say that there is a chance he gets the KO here when he's getting backed up because of how much Pico is open on the feet as he's closing the distance sometimes. The dude was just completely in a squared up, wide stance, moved to the right side at the worst possible time while backing up Lerone Murphy and proceeded to eat the cleanest spinning elbow right to the temple you'll ever see. He completely flatlined Aaron Pico in this fight, in the first round no less. Insane finish and performance from Lerone Murphy, and I think with that, he's guaranteed himself a title shot against Volkanovski in December pretty much, especially since he took this fight on 3 weeks notice for the UFC because Movsar pulled out. Sad for Aaron Pico though, I did pick Lerone Murphy to win, but Pico came to fight, guys, and he was using his wrestling well, and he was backing up Lerone Murphy whilst the fight lasted. I think his skill set will overall keep him in the rankings in the featherweight division, but I don't see him touching a belt anytime soon, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure he was also saying something like he'd beat Volk, he'd beat Ilya, and he'd beat Max Holloway. I'm pretty sure he did say that. And this pretty much puts a lid on all of that, in my opinion. Next up, the feature fight of the card in Carlos Prates versus Geoff Neal. And oh my god, guys, watching this spinning elbow KO into Lerone Murphy's spinning elbow KO was surreal, honestly. Back-to-back highlight reel stuff, and Prates looked good in this fight. I feel like it was decently even at the start, with Prates edging out the round slightly, but around halfway through the round, he just started to open up more on the feet and was running away with the round for me. I literally got up to get a drink watching the TV thinking, oh, there's not much time left. I'll just, get my drink. Whoa! Like, that's pretty much what happened at my house. Very crazy late in the first round finish. Glad to see a bounce back for Prates after his loss to Ian Gary, and I do wish Geoff Neal a very speedy recovery. It was a pretty nasty finish. Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates would be a pretty sick matchup to see. I really love how they were mentioning that. Would love to see that matchup. Next up to talk about is MVP versus Jared Cannonier, and man, MVP is really just playing with these dudes on the feet to an extent. It feels like none of these guys can really deal with his striking, and the only way through him is to grapple with him. A pretty impressive performance from MVP, but honestly, I probably would have liked to see him chase the finish a little bit more against Cannonier in those first 2 rounds. I feel like he had him hurt a couple of times when he potentially could have capitalized a little bit more. He was more showboating than trying to finish him at certain moments, but still, it was a solid performance from him, except for that flying punch into getting taken down in the third. That shit was pretty stupid, I'm not gonna lie. Give MVP a fun fight next. Would love to see a matchup between him and Wonderboy sometime before these guys retire. That would be sick to see, but I do wonder who they're gonna give him next. Next up to talk about is Tim Elliott submitting Kai Asakura, and this was just disappointing to watch overall, and I'm not just saying that as a super grouchy guy whose main card parlay would have hit if Kai Asakura won this fight. That may be partly of it, guys, but it's not the full extent of it. It's just mostly because I thought Tim Elliott looked pretty terrible in there, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially in that first round. Like, in my opinion, he looked like a guy that should be nowhere near the rankings. He was looking completely awkward in there. He was getting pieced up for the most part by Asakura, and then once he got the grappling going against Asakura in the second round, that was all over for Asakura. He couldn't defend the guillotine, which sucks because it looked like he didn't have it for a good portion of the time since his right hand wasn't connected. Kai actually needed to escape during that time, but instead, he stayed in that position. Elliot managed to lock his hands together, and it was all over from there. It was very impressive for Tim Elliott as a veteran to get this win. These old dogs have still got some danger in them. So I am happy for a fighter who gets the win, guys. Moving on now to the prelims, Susurkaev versus Eric Nolan, and he defeats Eric Nolan by submission, and this fight was super dicey. I said that Eric Nolan was a dangerous dude, and Susurkaev needed to be careful in the striking in this fight, but the dude was just showboating and seemingly just having a lot of fun in there, which isn't the worst thing, but I don't think it was registering to him the danger level of Eric Nolan, and he just got whacked right on the chin. And honestly, he looked like he was almost completely done and out of there in the first round. You gotta give it to him though. He recovered super well, and he went on not only to just secure the takedown in the second round, he also bounced back with a finish against Eric Nolan by submission in that second round. The dude is very impressive, but he needs to clean up a few things if he wants to go further in the division. Next up is Michal Oleksiejczuk motherfucking getting the KO in the first round over Gerald Meerschaert, and I called this one, guys. If you saw my betting guide recap at the start of this video and didn't skip it, thank you guys for not skipping it, but if you saw it, you know that I put a large bet on Michal Oleksiejczuk to get the first round KO in this fight, and I'm very happy that it paid off. Gerald really does have a lot of trouble with pressure heavy-handed guys in his fights. If he can't get the takedown and they sprawl out of it, he's pretty much a sitting duck on the feet. Great combinations by Michal Oleksiejczuk in this fight, and fantastic finish. He deserves a high-quality opponent next. He's a pretty super underrated fighter. Lupita Godinez defeats Jessica Andrade, and honestly, this was a decently fun fight to watch on the card. It was quite scrappy between these two, and man, can Lupita Godinez take a bloody punch. She took so much punishment in that third round of this fight. Lucky for her though, she's got a great chin, and she did outdo Andrade by a lot in this fight in those first two rounds to secure the fight with some solid striking and grappling. I honestly think her boxing is actually looking pretty slick now, and I can see her getting a KO sometime in the future for sure. Next up is the biggest upset on the card, Alexander Hernandez defeating Chase Hooper by first round KO, and guys, I, for some reason, had a feeling this was coming. I said it in my predictions video and watching live that Chase Hooper looked just so bad on the feet, and he's just a bit too simple right now, and I think he's getting overestimated by a lot of people. I said Hernandez is hard to get down, and he's going to be quicker and more powerful in this fight, and wow, he just landed that shot beautifully on Chase Hooper, and I don't know what he was doing there, really. He looked like he got a little too complacent for a second and ended up paying the price against Alexander Hernandez. Great win for Alexander Hernandez. I expect Chase Hooper to bounce back sometime soon. He's still a young fighter in the UFC. Plenty of time to grow. Something I do want to mention though about this is that I'll put it on screen for you guys now as well. If you saw my betting guide for this card, you would already know that I put Alexander Hernandez as my high risk, high reward pick of the week because I felt like the odds were just literally too juiced for how close the fight truly was in my opinion. And the funny thing is, the highest risk bet actually ended up cashing. So congratulations to whoever actually ended up tailing that bet or picking that bet. Congratulations. Next up is Drakkar Klose versus Edson Barboza, and man, this was just a boring fight to me and a very sad sight to see Barbosa being outstruck to a degree by Drakkar Klose. Probably about time to wrap things up, in my opinion, on an already star-studded career and take a much-needed break from the sport with a retirement for Edson Barboza. That's all I can really say about this one, guys. It was a pretty uneventful fight. I feel like I can't really say that I think Drakkar Klose is all of a sudden going to make a run against bigger and more dangerous contenders because I just feel like he's not really that good in my opinion. I thought this fight was relatively lower level. Solid win though by him. I want to congratulate him as a fighter who won his fight, and his pressure overall was decent here. Moving on now to Karine Silva versus Dione Barboza, and I had to watch this fight back because of the commentary team yelling robbery and the fact that I missed parts of each rounds myself, so I really couldn't tell who actually won watching this fight live. I picked Dione Barboza as an underdog pick before this fight, guys, just so you know where my bias is at. If I do have a bias, I'm not really a biased dude, but that really was my pick before the fight. I said that she would outdo Karine Silva almost everywhere because she would be the more technical and better fighter in my eyes. And in the first round, this was completely true. She comes out and clearly beats Karine Silva in the first round. No questions asked. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that at all. The second and third rounds seemed to be the points of contention for people, and the commentary team made it sound like they were shocked it wasn't like a 29-28 or 30-27 Barboza for the win. In my opinion, as someone who picked Barboza to win, I actually did think that Karine Silva did enough on damage to win both the second and third round. I actually did score it for Karine Silva watching the fight on replay after the card, so I don't really have too many complaints about how this fight ended, in my opinion, or my underdog not getting the win here. I really don't know why the commentary team was so confident that she won this fight, especially with how active Karine Silva was with her strikes and submissions from bottom position. So I don't really think this was a robbery decision here, guys. That's my opinion. Moving on now to the last fight, and the first fight of the card, really, in Alibi Idris versus Joseph Morales, and this just looked like a terrible pick from me, guys. But I really did not expect Morales to look as good as he did in this fight. Insanely good ability to secure the takedown, and the ability to get back control in this fight was fantastic. Almost submitted Alibi in that first round at the end of the round, and in the second round, it looked like he hurt him with some body shots and managed to get him to the ground again for the submission. Great performance from him, and just great pressure overall. Pressure is just so useful, guys, against technical guys, especially guys who are more technical than you, because a lot of them need more time to process and think about their next move. Anyways, guys, overall, I was pretty happy watching this card. I thought it performed quite well, and the back-to-back spinning elbow KOs on the main card are gonna stick with me for a while. They really were the highlight of the evening. This card was pretty good, guys. That's it for my recap and reaction to UFC 319, Du Plessis versus Chimaev. If you guys have any thoughts about my results or any thoughts about the card in general, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll respond to anyone and everyone that does. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.